What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home. First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Tej pack. Tej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Tej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Tej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Tej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Tej pack. Feel the Tej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for coming. I ain't even got my Rolex. What? All right, I'm back. I was wondering what I was feeling so empty in the inside. I said, what a day. What a day to start the day feeling empty. Yeah, it's Monday. It's Monday, the final week of November. It is the 27th of November 2023, year of our Lord. Jim B, I had forgot my watch. I had to go get my watch. I can't be out here doing a Millionaire Morning Show without my Millionaire Morning props. You know what I'm saying out here? Shout out to the people in the streets. Hey, let me know how y'all feeling today. Give me one word inside of the chat. One word inside of the chat to let me know exactly what y'all feeling today, how y'all feeling, and what's going on out here in these streets. One word inside of the chat to let me know how y'all feeling today. Let me switch my hat out real quick. I think I want to go with this one. I see great. Azrael, you know I can't do it. Great, excited, amazing, chill, Monday, blessed. Shout out to Finding Dory, magnificent, humble, ready. Hold on, let me see. Let me see what's happening. Let me see what the sentiment of the people out here is. Ready, blessed, humble, excited, healthy, blessed, happy, accomplished, happy, focused, marvelous, paid, just closed the deal, said Real Estate Jones. Shout out to Real Estate Jones. Confused, blessed, great, powerful, happy, inspired, rich, blessed, growth, vibrant, hustling, blessed, accomplished, recovered. I like that one. Recovered. Joy, done, sleepy, tired, inspired, thankful, motivated, ready, silly. Alive / blessed, exhausted, tired, relaxed, blessed, undefeated, blessed, free, blessed by the best. All of y'all blessed. I hear it. Sick. Aw, y'all pray for Toy. Manifesting, ready, lovely, determined, optimistic, alive, driven, strong, confident. The gold was better. Rebirth, alive, rejuvenated, rich, thorough, learning, energetic, Monday, anticipatory, stupendous, ready, energized, charged, rested, focused, motivated. A new bag chaser. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. Somebody said they missing Fight Club. Let's talk about that for a minute. Well, we'll get into that shortly. Let me acknowledge a couple of early super chatters and cash appers. Shout out to Mike, that dude. Always holding me down. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you for the cash app. Also, can I get a round of applause for D. Shaw? Shout out to D. Shaw on the cash app. I appreciate you for holding me down, big dog. Also, Miss Crow T. Shetty came through and held me down. I appreciate you, Miss Crow T. Shetty. And David X says he got that Tej Hanley. If y'all have not got that Tej Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. The link is in the description for y'all to get the Tej Hanley. Thank you, Tej Hanley, for continuing to sponsor the live stream. I will be reading super chats throughout the show, especially how much money I gave out yesterday, but we're going to get into that. Let me go ahead and get into the show, and then I'm going to share with y'all my thoughts, and we're going to rock out for the day. All right, it's Monday. A new opportunity to do great things. No matter what happened this past weekend or this past week, you got another opportunity to really level up and do something awesome. Let's go ahead and get started with the show, and I'm going to be reading super chats throughout the show. Well, still getting used to quick hits, but quick hits specifically, shout out to Pretty Boy 79. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Quick hits specifically is the portion of the show where we deep dive into what is happening. May not necessarily deserve a full segment, but we do want to keep you informed of what's happening out here in these streets. First and foremost, oh man, I forgot my camera. I got to switch my camera back out. All right, we back. First and foremost, Derek Chauvin. Do you guys remember Derek Chauvin? Derek Chauvin was the police officer that went viral and was convicted, especially considering Black Lives Matters and everything else that was going on. But Derek Chauvin was the police officer that was convicted as a result of what was going on with, what was his name? George Floyd. Let me bring y'all up to date on what's happening with Derek Chauvin. Oh, no. All right, well, I can't bring you up to date what's happening with Derek Chauvin. Well, actually, I can. Hold on. Let me make sure that I can get this. Give me a second. I just want to make sure there's something wrong. Derek Chauvin. My stuff ain't going to keep on being messed up out here in these streets. Hold on. I don't know what's going on with my software, but it has been acting a mess lately. See if we can get that back popping.
Breaking story overnight. Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer convicted of murdering George Floyd, attacked in a federal prison, and he was seriously injured. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has more on this story. Good morning, Jacqueline.
Hey, Gio, good morning. George Floyd's death obviously rocked the country in 2020, sparking nationwide protests about police brutality and race relations. And now sources say the man at the center of it all, found guilty of murdering Floyd, is in the hospital. This morning, sources tell ABC News Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer convicted of murdering George Floyd by kneeling on his neck, sparking massive civil rights protests, is now in the hospital with serious injuries after getting stabbed by another inmate.
The court commits you to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 270 months.
47-year-old Chauvin is serving out his 21-year federal sentence for violating Floyd's civil rights and a 22-and-a-half-year state sentence for second-degree murder at this medium-security federal correctional facility in Tucson, Arizona. Back in August, officials moved him there from this maximum-security Minnesota state prison, where he was mainly kept in solitary confinement largely for his own protection. The Bureau of Prisons only revealing an incarcerated individual was assaulted at the Federal Correctional Institution, Tucson, yesterday. In a recent documentary called The Fall of Minneapolis, Chauvin spoke to the media for the first time, calling the trial and sentencing a sham, claiming his use of his knee on Floyd's neck was part of his police training manual.
In fact, I'm looking at it right now. 5-316, maximal restraint technique, right in their written policy manual.
And sources say Chauvin is, as of now, in stable condition and is expected to survive, but we have not heard back from his attorney or the prison.
So, Derek Chauvin, obviously convicted of the murder of George Floyd, which I believe that it largely came as a result. And I can't really sit here and tell you, because even up to this day, I refused to watch the video. A lot of people still believe that it was a court of public opinion that got him convicted. Court of public opinion. Some people believe that he deserved to go to prison. Some people then condemned all police as a result of what happened with George Floyd. Obviously, we all realize that Black Lives Matter was a sham, and them being at the forefront of this movement ultimately was an opportunity for them to profit from the people. And nobody wants to revisit anything with regard to anybody that is convicted, especially in the court of public opinion, because nobody ever wants to say that they were wrong, right? A lot of toxicology, autopsy reports brought forth, obviously, would feed into the idea that maybe we got it wrong, maybe we got it right, who knows? But the question still remains, and there's always going to be a bunch of people that have forgetful memories as far as trying to figure out whether or not they were right or they were wrong. But ultimately, somebody's life, a father, an uncle, somebody got thrown under the bus as a result of it. So we know that nobody is ever going to remember, and nobody is ever going to say anything to the contrary of what they were protesting for before they ever even got into a trial in the first place. And at the end of this show, I want to present to you something that kind of supports what I'm saying right now. And that when women a lot of times say that they want to be equal, I'm not really sure that they do, because the court of public opinion is always going to hold men accountable. And if they don't, society will. Right, as far as the laws and the land and the way in which we operate, it always is going to hold you accountable. So no matter, regardless of whether or not he's guilty or not, or whether you want to remember it or not, he's still in prison getting stabbed up. And so that's currently what's happening with Derek Chauvin. In other news, with other people that are in the news, Diddy. So, like I predicted, not only did it open up an opportunity for Diddy to suffer, but it opened up an opportunity for a lot of celebrities and all men to suffer. But let me bring you up to speed of what's happening with Diddy, all right?
Welcome back. Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is facing new allegations of sexual assault. This time, a woman claims the rapper drugged and sexually assaulted her in New York City back in 1991. He is denying the allegations, but these new claims come exactly 1 week after Combs settled a separate lawsuit involving his ex-girlfriend Cassie, who accused him of sex trafficking, rape, and domestic abuse. NBC News correspondent Steve Patterson joins us now on this from Los Angeles. Hi, Steve. So tell us more about the allegations and why the victim chose to come forward now.
No, Savannah, the allegations are horrific. And if you include not only Sean Diddy Combs, but his associates, this is actually the third lawsuit in as much time levied against Combs and his inner circle. This one, as you mentioned, stems from 1991. A Syracuse University college student says that Sean Diddy Combs took her out to dinner, that she was drugged, and that she was drugged for the purpose of a sexual assault, and that she was so drugged that she could not fight back against said sexual assault. There's also the accusation that the sexual assault itself was recorded as a form of revenge porn, and that tape was shown to several people, including a member of the 90s R&B group Jodeci. The accuser says that she was so hurt and so confused and so traumatized at the time that she didn't file anything, that she didn't follow up, but that she did follow up following that incident with a police report in both New York and New Jersey, and that she's coming out 30 years later because this Adult Survivors Act in New York was set to expire just a day before she filed suit in New York. But the true inspiration, of course, was the lawsuit filed by Cassie.
The true inspiration behind a lawsuit that came at the last minute for the expiring Adult Survivors Act was Cassie. 30 years later, lawsuit filed from 1991. We didn't even have cell phones, so if he recorded it, it had to be on one of them fat camcorders or something like that. Over 32 years later, a woman at the very last minute, considering that she's seen Cassie's payout, decided that she wanted to file a lawsuit based off of something that she's accusing Diddy of doing from 1991. Now, Anton is not of the camp of people that believe that Diddy is innocent, nor that he is not a horrible person. But I'm not just going to continue to substantiate other people's claims just because they don't necessarily like him and I don't like him either. I'm not going to say that Diddy is completely innocent. And I've been warning y'all and I've been having this conversation. People criticize me for criticizing him when I told y'all that his business practices, especially the way that he'd been selling to the black community, was questionable. And when he did on that Earn Your Leisure and he did his little tour and he said that he was a billionaire and all of this other type of stuff. And I told y'all, I warned y'all, I said, listen, Diddy's time is coming. Diddy's time is coming. And he sold y'all a lie and so on and so forth. But I was just criticizing what he was saying specifically on that particular platform. I wasn't criticizing anything that I didn't know about him. But I'm not going to throw him under the bus just because somebody 32 years later decided that they wanted to go for a cash grab and they never even filed or reported or said anything about the possibility of him ever doing anything until they found out that Cassie was getting some money. Yep. It's crazy. Ain't it crazy, all of this stuff? Brittany, you absolutely right. I've been talking about dick discipline, protecting yourself and all of this stuff. Y'all called me crazy. Y'all cited people like Diddy as a reference point as to where money can fix anything and all of this stuff. And I've been telling y'all all this time. And now we here. And all of a sudden, everybody forgot about what I said. Don't worry about it. Trust me, more will come to pass as I predict what's going to happen and how things are playing out. But I don't, by default, believe any of these women. I just don't. I really don't. And then last but not least, the Chasers. So let me celebrate everybody that's a part of the Patreon and all of the Bag Chasers. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I knew that it was going to be a long night. So yesterday on Sunday, as promised, we live streamed, and I will drop that live stream this afternoon or tomorrow morning, but more than likely this afternoon. I'm going to drop the video recording of the live stream that we did exclusive to the Patreon members for everybody that pitched their businesses yesterday, okay? So some people pitched passion projects. Some people pitched businesses. One person came up with an idea that was so great that I said, you know what, we might have to even invest with each other and do business together. So we working that out. But we wound up live streaming for almost 6 hours. I was a soldier in that joint. 6 hours yesterday. We were live streaming and we got to it. So people pitched their businesses And we wind up allocating and spending about $21,500 yesterday. $21,500 yesterday was the amount of money that we wound up allocating for, and then we're going to reach out to everybody over the next week in order to make sure to get y'all information so that we can send y'all the money and wire it to y'all or mail it to y'all or whatever, right? And I was in such a good mood last night. Y'all caught me on the right weekend. Y'all caught me on the right weekend because I was begging y'all to give me a number. Some people I was like, all right, so what do you need? And they kept beating around the bush. I'm going to have to teach y'all. I'm going to have to do a video specifically to Patreon members on how to pitch your business, your 2-minute elevator pitch, when you pitch into a venture capitalist, when you pitch into people that can invest in your business, how you're supposed to allocate your pitches or present your pitches when it comes to going into certain banks and stuff like that. Because I was literally looking and pushing y'all to say yes. Hey, how much do you need? Well, I don't know. Okay, well, what is it? What is it going to cost you? Well, I'm thinking that I got to go over here. Hey, just give me a number. Give me a number. I need $2,000. Okay, you got it. I seriously was advocating for and pushing y'all. Very few people I said no to yesterday. Very few people I said no to yesterday. So congratulations to everybody that had the courage. Congratulations to everybody that's a bag chaser. I wanted to make sure that I added value into y'all lives. So this is one of many that I've done, and more is to come. So next year, hopefully, I'm guessing that we can up the ante, maybe double. Maybe I can get 40 plus thousand to y'all out. So again, make sure I got everybody's information. To everybody that pitched me yesterday, congratulations if you got picked. If you didn't get picked, then that means that you got to go back to the drawing board, baby, and get your idea together. And then we gonna go there. And shout out to everybody that soldiered through it with me as far as watching it and viewing it and checking out. Again, I'm gonna put the recording inside of the Patreon today. I already got it uploaded. I'm just waiting to be able to release it. I got to put the cover photo on it, and then we gonna get it popping. All right. So shout out to the people. I always love my people. I love my chasers, and I'm always gonna try to do what I can in order to add value into y'all life, including giving y'all money for y'all businesses. And I don't take any equity into it. It's yours. We went by the honor system. And if I got finessed, then I just got finessed. But I don't think that I got finessed because I think that the chasers are a unique group of people, and I love y'all, all right? So shout out to all of the chasers, and that is your quick hits, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring you all of the information and help you to understand how you can level up. And the chasers. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat, all right? Let me read a couple of super chats, and then we're going to get started with the show. Pretty Boy 79 says, thanks to you, some of the sales tactics and values I've pushed my sales teams to be one of the best in Southeastern United States. Shout out to Pretty Boy. I appreciate you. Dalton Trustees is in the building, says, keep pushing. We sent an email. Hopefully you got it. Oh, man, let me check my email. I need to check my email for the Dalton Trustees. All right, I'm going to check it. Hopefully I can get y'all on the platform by tomorrow. Bell is in the building with the 60 ball straight from Canada. Says, Anton, I decided to send you an email instead of pitching yesterday that I missed my opportunity. Nevertheless, I'm happy for all of the chasers that are one step closer to their business goals. You're the real MVP. Bell, I will check your email. I was so busy over the weekend going through all of the pitches and getting everything together and trying to make sure that I had the money allocated for you guys. So, Bell, I'm going to check your email and see what I can do for you. I love you. Thank you for supporting, and thank you for being a supporter of the chasers. So I'm going to check your email today, Bell. Thank you for the 70 ball and contributing into the platform. I appreciate you. Let me see. Pat Gigatainment says, just got monetized on YouTube. I got to get that game for the 100 times this joint. Yeah. Shout out to Pat for getting monetized and the chasers. Messi says, congrats to all those that got funding. We so supportive with each other. If they keep telling y'all that there's no community for the culture that's actually a blueprint for how we supposed to be operating in our lives, they lying to you. So again, shout out to Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Also, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. More information is coming, and I got a phenomenal year that's lined up for the Chasers. A phenomenal year. Also, my dog, DJ K Smooth, is in the building, says, Van Glorious with a key sissies. Good morning to you, brother Anton, and everybody that tuned in. Peace and blessings for you for investing in the Chasers. I'm enjoying the Patreon, and salute. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you, DJ. Carolina's DJ K Smooth in the building. Marcus S says, happy for those who got it. Yes, shout out to AD. Thank you, Marcus X. Marcus X pitched me yesterday. P. Shank is in the building, says, good morning, Mr. Anton Daniels. Have a good day. As I will. Thank you, Shank. I appreciate you. Also, Tech Noop is in the building, says, it was incredible what you did for the people last night. Shout out to the content creators like yourself that are delivering real value. You guys are the real MVPs. Y'all be trying to give me my flowers, but I'm nothing without y'all, so I always value y'all. Thank y'all. Got my dog Jason Lee in the building. Says, good morning, Anton. Thoughts on IGM's new retirement plan? You mean IBM. IBM's new retirement plan. IBM said it's switching its 5% 401k match and 1% automatic contribution to an automatic tax-deferred 5% retirement benefit into a new retirement benefit account starting January 1st. Jason, I actually reviewed that already. I'll see if I can find that quick hits, but I actually gave my thoughts about that. I don't agree with it. I think that it's a tactic for IBM to try to save money. And if I was an employee at IBM, I would be looking to move and find a new position because you see the writing on the wall. There are certain signs and clues that corporate America will give you when they absolutely are moving in a different direction or they're trying to pivot and save money, which is ultimately going to affect you in the long run. So I would be girding up and picking up my bootstraps and getting my resume together to move on up out of there and move into something different if I was y'all. I'm going to send you that, Jason Lee, but I actually went over that in a quick hit session, I believe. So shout out to Jason Lee for contributing over into the platform. What y'all say? We go ahead and get started with the show? Let's get started with the show. So you know what I got to do. You know we got to bring the people to the front of the congregation. Shout out to the Chi-Town. Listen. Next Level MF, I'm definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly and all those throughout the show. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. But shout out to Chi-Town. Listen. I'm just as tired as you guys are about talking about Chicago. I promise. As much as I like getting on Brandon Johnson, I am absolutely tired of talking about Chicago. If there was another city that could replace Chicago, I absolutely would. But how can I, answer me this question, how can I ignore just the last live stream that I did? I showed y'all all of the multiple shootings that was happening within 24 hours. How can I ignore the idea that 20 robberies happened over Sunday? You know, I was watching one of my favorite series again, The Wire, right? And on The Wire, they had what they called, I believe it was like a truce on Sundays, but basically there should be no warring on a Sunday. So much so to where arch enemies understood that you never go to war or hit somebody or hit somebody's grandma on a Sunday. Sunday was the Lord's day. You know what I'm saying? Sunday was, listen, when they got at his grandmother on The Wire, y'all got to watch The Wire. They made them boys go and apologize because they shot up Grandma Hat. They shot up Grandma Hat. What up to my girl Q? Make sure y'all tuning into the Q show tonight. It's going to be a great show. Chicago on a Sunday overnight had over 20 robberies, shootings, robbed 3 food trucks, all while they were preparing in order to build the next tent migrant shelter. You don't believe me? Let me show you.
Dozens of protesters, most of them residents of Brighton Park, came out once again today to speak up against the city's plans to erect a winterized base camp for migrants at this vacant lot at 38th Street in California, construction on which, according to a letter Saturday from 12th Ward Alderwoman Julia Ramirez, will begin tomorrow.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Let me back up for a minute. What's the alderman's name? Let me back up one more second.
On which, according to a letter Saturday from 12th Ward Alderwoman Julia Ramirez,
you're not going to skip past that. Who is Julia Ramirez? Who is Julia Ramirez? If somebody knows Alderman Julia Ramirez, somebody tell them to get in touch with me because I'm curious as to what's going on over here in Chicago and their specific district.
Will begin tomorrow. This in spite of soil tests showing the land is contaminated with toxic metals.
A while back, they tried to put a playground. They couldn't. They tried to put a school. They couldn't. People did background histories on this site. It was contaminated because it was a railroad track disposal.
For nearly 6 weeks now,
So think about it, y'all. Think about it. And remember, the name of this show is called The Millionaire Morning Show. So as we evaluate this, understand this. Not only are they over budget, not only is Chicago running at a deficit, not only did they not properly allocate monies for the entire year for what it is that they already planning to do. You got money going over to vendors. You got aldermen continuing to support Brandon Johnson. And they're putting up the tent on a contaminated site. They've already run soil tests. They can't even put a playground there. But not only are they bringing them in here, but they're bringing them in here and contaminating them in order to make sure that the tent, according to the news reports, are going up on a contaminated site. So this actually is a contradiction to what Brandon Johnson actually stands for when he had all of the pastors around him, right? A contaminated site is where they're putting the migrant shelter on top of. Let's continue.
A small contingent of residents has been out nearly every day to express their displeasure at the proposed camp, which they believe would drain already limited resources from those who live here.
You got veterans out there, you got homeless. Why don't you take care of our people before anybody else?
News that the soil is polluted has only heightened residents' opposition, some saying they don't trust that adequate remediation has been done.
They should release the environmental report to the public.
I'm sorry, Jackie Chan. Let me just say this for a minute. Y'all know how when black people, and we always used to complain, but it's kind of went away. Shout out to people of good quality. Y'all remember when black people, when they used to find a person that had the most broken English in order to report on a report? Yesterday on the news we had 25 people shot over in Detroit. I'm sorry, sir. Can you please help us to understand exactly what happened over there? Yeah, they would just run out the house. I want to hear from somebody that can communicate effectively. Don't you put somebody in the front of the camera in front of me talking about what we not doing for migrants. Sir, we need to check your status, because if you don't know how to speak proper English, I'm just trying to figure out if you're trying to keep ISIS or whatever it is. What was the agency that they use in order to round up all of the immigrants that's not necessarily supposed to be here? Sir, I'm going to need to check your card, your green card. What's the agency? I know it ain't ISIS. That's the terrorist group. What's the agency that they have over here in America to be able to get all of the immigrants that's not supposed to be here? Let me look it up. I need to understand who the immigrants are. Oh, Agency for Immigrants. What's the name of it, y'all? Homeland Security. It's like a ICE. It's called ICE. Shout out to y'all in the chat. It's called ICE. Okay, so it's not ISIS, it's ICE. We need ICE over here to come over and check Jackie's green card, because I'm not sure if this guy is even qualified to speak on this in the first place, all right?
Done.
They should release the environmental report to the public so we know how toxic this land is.
I don't know how toxic the land is. I certainly don't know how toxic the land is, but I have no idea the words that are coming out of your mouth, man.
You know, and they said they fixed it. It's by laying a thin layer of
I read the
little
chat.
stones
It's ice.
that you put
I
on
get
your
it.
garden, okay? That's their fix.
The winterized.
Hold on, wait.
They
Let me get
the
this.
public?
Let me get him the rest of it, because if anybody got a translator inside of the chat, let me know. I need to get the rest of this to understand what's going on.
So we know how toxic this land is, you know, and they said they fixed it. It's by laying a thin layer of little stone that you put on your garden, okay?
So, according to Jackie here, he said they fished it by putting little stones over the garden, like your garden. That's how they fished it. Listen, bro. I believe that we should have, in the United States of America, I think you should have to do past certain things in order to be able to work here, live here, and to be a citizen of the United States of America. I have no idea what he just said. I have no idea. Something about little stones like in your garden, contamination in soil. That's all I got. Seriously. That's all I got out of this. Contamination, soil, garden, stones. And Tassie.
That's their fix.
The winterized base camps, which would look something like these already erected in New York, would temporarily house up to 2,000 migrants, many of whom have been living at airports and at police stations around the city. In her letter to residents announcing the impending construction, Alderwoman Ramirez reiterated her opposition, saying in part, "It is essential for residents of this community to be fully aware of the environmental impacts
Connie Harris. Whatever.
And potential risks associated with this project. We have a right to know if the site is safe for both asylum seekers and community members at large."
So they weren't concerned about it when it was the regular people, but they're concerned about it now that they're building a tent over there and the migrants. Okay, cool. But that's not really what I want you to pay attention to, what's happening in Chicago, right? While that's happening, so there's so many different things and so many different moving pieces, right, all at the same time. While that's happening, this what was happening over the last 24 hours in Chicago. Oh, no. Nope. You're not going to finesse me on this one. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why they don't want to hold me down. Give me a second. We going to find this. We going to find this one. Yeah, buddy. You're not going to get away with that one. Nope. Chicago thought that they was going to get away. They thought that we was just going to roll over and that was going to be the end of the conversation. Nope. Give me a second. I got you, boo. Shout out to Chicago. They said, "You're not going to hold us accountable today." Oh, yes, I am. Oh, yes, I am. Oh, yes, I am.
That's right, 20 robberies happening just yesterday. One of those includes a woman who was actually robbed at gunpoint and shot while parking her car just yesterday morning. Take a look at the scene that we have here. This is from yesterday. It happened around 8 o'clock in the morning in the Garfield Park neighborhood. Police are saying a 49-year-old woman was parking near the corner of 5th Avenue and Sacramento Avenue when the suspects got out of a black SUV, showing a gun and demanding the victim's belongings. Police are telling us the woman was shot in her upper abdomen during that robbery. She was taken to Mount Sinai Hospital in good condition. However, no one is in custody. WGN counted and found around 20 armed robberies happening just on Sunday. At least 5 of them happened yesterday evening in the South Lawndale and Brighton Park neighborhoods, involving 4 suspects.
Did y'all hear what we just said? Did y'all hear what we just said? People shot. Over 20. Not 2. Not 1. Not 3. Not 10. 20 armed robberies over Sunday evening. As soon as it went dark outside, look, this is every single live stream. I get at least 5 different news reports from Chicagoans saying, Anton, this is what's happening in Chicago. Overnight, 14 people shot. Overnight, teens shot. Overnight, Sunday, over the weekend, Thanksgiving, 20 people robbed, shot, woman walking into her house, man walking down the alley with some pizza, daylight, nighttime. Seriously, every single day. Can you imagine 20 people getting shot and robbed and houses broken in? And we don't even know how many crimes wasn't even reported. 20 armed, not just 20 break-ins, 20 armed robberies, at least 4 different people and 4 different crews reported. 20 in the United States of America, of a major city, one of the largest cities in the United States of America, and we can't get a handle on crime. On top of that, you have the Safety Act that basically explains that the person or the people responsible, is a possibility that they can get out without even having bail. That's crazy. That is absolutely, positively insane.
Using a white SUV. Police are saying one of their victims was a food truck parked near the corner of 31st and Kedzie. One of the workers of that truck told us it's the 4th time they've actually been robbed in the last 2 weeks. This time the suspects may have gotten away with at least $700. As of right now, no one's in custody, but police sent out a community alerts warning people to be vigilant and stay alert when out, and also walk in groups and don't carry large amounts of money on.
Did you hear the warnings? Hey. Don't worry about it. Just don't walk in large groups together. Make sure you don't carry a lot of money. Be vigilant and keep your head on a swivel. This is the advice that they got for us. Not, we going to put more police on the street. Hey, we caught them. Hey, nope. No catching, no nothing. Just be vigilant and make sure that you walk with a community of people, because they're less likely to rob you if you got a group of people with you. But it wasn't just one food truck that they robbed. They robbed 3.
Yeah, I'm told there were at least 3 food trucks in Brighton Park that were robbed this evening. The workers there telling us that 3 suspects pulled up with some sort of large guns demanding their money. Police say this all happened just after 5:30 this evening. The first incident happening right near 39th and Kedzie. Police say the suspects flashed their guns and got away with the workers' belongings. Another incident just down the road near 31st and Kedzie, where there are 3 food trucks lined up along that street. One of the trucks was able to lock up their doors before the suspects got in, but a worker there.
Look, hold on. Look at the culprit in the background. What's the possibility that the guy in the red with the hood on, that's just so happened to walking by, maybe one of the people that's the culprits or the people that's the crime? You know, I've learned from these crime shows and even watching Mind Hunters on Netflix that often at times the people that commit the crimes revisit the scene of the crime within 24 hours of it happening to see what's going on. Look at the guy. Watch the guy walk past in the red. How safe do you guys feel?
Before the suspects got in, but a worker there tells me that the two trucks in front of her were robbed by the three suspects. She says this is the fourth time that's happened in 2 weeks. She explains what unfolded tonight.
Three guys, they came walking through the street, and one of the guys, he have a large gun, and the others two, they have a pistol.
And she don't even know how to fill out a police report because she can't even say a sentence without it being a run-on sentence. I mean, you know, I'm not one to victim shame, but I'm just saying if I want to take a police report, we going to have to stop putting a period instead of a comma after every single word that you say, ma'am. And he had a pistol. I'm not one to victim shame. I have no idea what's going on outside of these streets. I don't know what's going on, but I can't even take a police report from you, ma'am, because not only do we have migrants coming into this company that don't even know how to speak English properly, but we also have an inept police department that's been basically hobbled by our political system. And then on top of that, you got a bunch of teens running around robbing everybody over in Chicago. You got a... This country is third world, fam. Think about this for a second. You got little kids robbing people. You have a police department that can't even solve for the crime because they don't have no support from the leaders in the community, although they are managing over $16 billion. And then you have the victims of the crime that can't even tell you what the police report is supposed to say so we can catch the victim because they don't even know how to speak proper English. This is America, ladies and gentlemen. I shouldn't even have named this $21,500. I should have just named this is America. I should change the cover photo to this right now and say, this is America. Or Cuba. Or Haiti. Or the bad part of Mexico with the cartels in it. You see this? The only people that are the real victims are the people that want to actually do the right thing and pay their taxes on time. And no, Lady Shan, you said you best move from that state. You can't go nowhere no more. It's now affecting everybody. As we go through this show today, what you're going to realize is that you can't run from crime anymore. If you don't want to handle it, you can't run from it because eventually it's just like a virus. It's like bacteria. It's going to come and it's going to find you. It's going to come over into your space. You got to stop it in its tracks. You have to nip it in the bud or you're going to open up Pandora's box. And now nobody wants to be accountable for the thing that they supported when they said to fund the police and turn every state blue and give everybody money and bigger government and let everybody in and open up the borders. You got all of these different factors that's working, but everybody want to say, oh no, it's his fault, it's his fault. No, it's our fault. It's our fault. We'll get there. Yeah, it's going to be one of them type of shows today. So shout out to Chi-Town. Shout out to the Chi. I appreciate you for continuing to bring yourself to the front of the congregation. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to get it popping in this show because this is just the beginning. Next Level Mother Effa. Next Level MF says, what if the business is not legal yet? We have no idea. We don't know what's going on. Anybody can do anything inside the United States of America. Terrence Hill says, salute from my family to yours. Some of us sit watching like this is some watch us change the family laws that affect men worldwide. Thanks for doing God's work. I'm on it. If ain't nobody else on it, I'm on it. That's why the politicians don't like me. They say we don't like Anton. Pookie's friend Ray Ray says, I got robbed for a basket of chicken strips and fries in Chicago last week. Not the chicken strip, not chicken that ain't got no bones in it. You got robbed for chicken that ain't even got bones in it? Good God almighty. People love good quality. I rock the hats. Shout out to the quality people. Says, hey, Anton, I was going to pitch yesterday, but an emergency came up. But congratulations to everybody who got funded. Anyone who want to support what we got. Sales going on 30% plus 10% with the extra code, extra 10. Anton, you are the man. Shout out to People Love Good Quality. Make sure you check out their stuff. They always keep me laced. You know that bear I was rocking on my sweatshirt over the weekend? That's People Love Good Quality. I love those guys. And they are chasers, so make sure you shout out to the chasers. Mr. Loft says, sounds like a way to justify all those nurses they have on salary. And we ain't never came to the conclusion of who behind that, did we? Just everybody getting the bag. Chris Moore says, if you want to stop crime, take the handcuffs off of the police. I disagree. If you want to stop crime, then stop letting mothers have children out of wedlock and then having it with dudes that don't care anything about them, continuing to raise the crime that's happening in our communities. See, it's a multi-level approach that we have to have here, but they don't want to hear that. Don't worry about it. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Let me continue over. Since we building shelters on contaminated soil over there, and what's the name of that city? Chicago? I don't think that we should stop there. I think that we need to have the conversation in full and then see what's really happening out here in these streets. What do you say? I don't think that Chicago is the only people that need to be brought to the front of the congregation. I think that there's more people. I do. Because Chicago has been so bad for so long. All of these other cities has been doing things and getting away with murder. All of these other cities have been taking advantage of the United States of the America's people, their taxpayers, the middle class, rich people, so on and so forth, right? And because Chicago refused to do the thing that's in the best interest of their citizens, places like Denver and Mike Johnston, with a T in his name, has largely been flying under the radar. But let me tell you something. It's cold in Denver.
One person is dead, another hurt after a group of migrants were attacked by a man wielding a knife. You see that pointy object right here in his hand. Now, we know that our crews were in the area and watched this whole violent encounter unfold. Our Vicente Arenas witnessed the chaos and has...
Hold on. Somebody find out who this is. Who is this young chocolate thing standing up there with her iPad with the brown on? She got a brown dress on. I didn't know if she was naked or if she was fully clothed out here in these streets. Who is this chocolate Thundercat that is standing on the front of my screen with all of that brown on, and I can't even tell whether or not she got clothes on or not? I didn't know if the stream was going to get shut down or if we was going to be reviewing a migrant crisis that's happening over there in Denver. I can't help myself. Listen. Women are beautiful. I asked Rita yesterday, I said, did we fund more women's businesses or did we fund more men's businesses? She said, I think we did more women. I said, I don't know. They say, Anton, I don't know if you hold women accountable because you don't like women. I said, I love my ladies. I fund their businesses, I employ them, and then I can absolutely appreciate when a Choco Taco is on front of my screen. Let's start that over one more time. We gonna get into the migrant crisis. I'm just trying to figure out who is this Choco Taco right here. You know what I'm saying? If anybody know her Instagram over in Denver, I'd love to be able to get her on the show in order to make sure that we have a conversation about what's happening over here with Denver and the migrant crisis. Look at her waist. Slim in the waist, pretty in the face. Good job. Good job. Okay, Choco Taco. That's my new name for her, Choco Taco.
Were attacked by a man wielding a knife. You see that pointy object right here in his hand. Now, we know that our crews were in the area and watched.
Get this woman off my screen, distracting me from doing God's work.
This whole violent encounter unfold. Our Vicente Arenas witnessed the chaos and has more tonight.
We were out here working on a different...
There we go. Put the man up there that can't even talk with his eyes open because he got bifocals on and he got 60-60 vision. Hey, yeah, guys, This is the way to keep me engaged and focused on what's happening in these streets. Look at this man. He got his shirt on and his jacket, and it's part of the news, and it's his gear, and he got his cool glasses on. Okay, buddy, I can get with it now. Let me refocus.
Different story when we saw this fight breaking out. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse. At one point, I saw a group of people trying to fight off a man, a woman swinging a stick trying to fend him off. All this taking place outside the Denver Rescue Mission
we own it.
and the Samaritan House.
Oh, Jesus.
Video shows a scene unfolding that continued to grow more violent. The people shown here fighting off the man told me he had a knife in his hand and had been bothering them since Wednesday night. They say the man came.
Oh, my God. We can't even take another police report. What is going on out here in these streets? We can't take another police report because we got to get a translator every single time we talk to somebody. Good God almighty. Now, I don't believe in crime and victim shaming, but if this man has been bothering them all night, maybe they couldn't get the police out there because they couldn't understand what the people were saying. Honestly, real talk. It's a language barrier, and I can't respond as fast because I don't know how to take the report.
Looking for problems. They're migrants from Venezuela, and the attacker was telling them they were not welcome here and for them to return to their country. They told us they believe the man is from Cuba and spoke both English and Spanish. The group told us they took out their own knives and garden tools and sticks to try and defend themselves.
Where do we live at? Honestly, I'm genuinely curious. Do we live in Cuba, Venezuela? Because all of them, they just bringing all of their problems over here as though we ain't got to deal with all of these little idiots running around doing stuff that they ain't supposed to do from these single mothers in the first place. Honestly, I'm going to read that super chat shortly, I promise you. But where do we live at? Where are we living at? Are we living in the United States of the Americas, or are we living somewhere else? When they said go back to your own country, I didn't know that they meant literally. I might just do it. Huh? Where was we brought over here from the ships from? Where was we at? Where's the... It got to be better over there than it is over here. They arguing. We don't know what they saying. They speaking in Cuba. Who speak Cuba good and Jr.? Yeah, Yakar, they got a knife fight out there fighting with sticks and knives. What is this? The Warriors movie? Who speak Cuba good and Jr.? If anybody speak Cuba good and Jr., somebody get them over here to translate so we can figure out what's happening on the streets of Denver. This is Denver. We just left Chicago, and it's the same thing over in Denver.
This woman says she unsuccessfully tried to calm the man down.
Le decía, take it easy. Let's go. Take it easy.
We saw CPR being performed on one man before he was put into an ambulance. David Garcia tried to help after the group of migrants tackled the alleged attacker.
Yeah, I actually took the knife out of his hand and disarmed him.
The unhoused migrants told us
and it took a good old red-blooded American to disarm this man.
Attacker today appeared to be under the influence of either drugs or alcohol.
Today's attack comes on the heels of what the migrants say was another last night where 4 men attacked their encampment. The migrants say they don't want any trouble. They're just here looking for work.
So while that was happening over there at the migrant camps, this happened within the last 24 hours over in Denver also.
New at 7, the number of migrants arriving here in Denver remains steady. The city's migrant support dashboard reported just 22 arriving yesterday, with 97 arriving today. The total number sent to Denver since last December has passed 28,000. And this cold weather is an experience that many of them have never had before. Channel 2's Rogelio Amata spoke with some.
Taylor Cunningham is her name. All right, Aaron.
Living under a bridge in the city, and he's on it for us tonight.
Yeah, we've seen one encampment crop up not far from here near Zunai and Spear, but there is another one that cropped up at 48th near I-70. We're told there's only one family there, but It's mostly comprised of single men. These folks are treading new ground.
That ain't nothing but trouble. That ain't nothing but trouble. When you see a camp with all single men in there, that's why they over there welding knives. Listen. If you see a camp with nothing but single men over there, that's a red flag. It's going to be some unrest and some furniture moving up in that joint. Don't worry, Truth Seeker. We're going to bring Callie to the front of the congregation this week. If you see a camp and it ain't nothing but men in there that don't speak English, it's going to be a rough winter. It's going to be a cold winter. Ladies, listen. We know we hold y'all accountable because we just want y'all to do better. But let me help you to understand something. I don't never want to be hanging out in the cold with a bunch of men. Ain't nothing warm with men next to you. We are some cold-blooded creatures. The Lord put y'all on this earth because he said it wasn't good for man to be alone, but we just want y'all to be right. We want y'all. We just don't want y'all with that evil spirit up in y'all. That's a red flag when you see a bunch of men with Sergio Tacchini's and Stadium X shoes on, all in the cold in Denver. Okay. Watch what happens.
Literally in the States in search of a better life. The latest obstacle they face, the snow. Some have never seen it before. Folks like Shannon drop by with clothes or a warm drink.
They told me they need sleeping bags. And I think most importantly, what I've heard is they need some way to be able to work.
Miguel Eduardo Alvarez Lugo says the truth is they aren't asking for money or a handout. They're only hoping for support from the U.S. government for work permits because they're trying to improve their lives. Anything could be an improvement from living here where having cup noodles and a pot to heat water is a luxury. He says in a very matter-of-fact tone they don't want to live in these conditions and they're only here because they have nowhere else to go for the time being. This is their situation. The city
or you could have stayed home where it was nice and warm, but you're going to find out this winter, buddy.
Activated its cold weather shelter plan, but with these donations, this group is choosing to stay among their fellow migrants. He says several people have come by donating food, clothes, and other items to help folks staying here, and he's thankful for the people coming to help. Others brought canopies where the migrants have been given propane tanks and heaters to warm themselves on cold.
This ain't nothing but a disaster waiting to happen. So they let y'all come over here. They making money from having y'all over here. And now they going to leave you out in the cold and they going to starve you out until you go back into your country. So was that the strategy now that the people is turning against the fact that we don't want open borders? You didn't never want open borders in the first place. You just never wanted to admit it.
Nights. It should be noted propane tanks are illegal on public easements in the city of Denver.
Yep.
He says, unfortunately, the cold weather.
I don't know what these people saying. Lastimosamente. What does that mean? Somebody that speaks Spanish or Cuba Gooding Jr., somebody tell me what lastimosamente means. So now we got to learn Spanish and English in order to make sure that we get a job, in order to make sure that we can report the news effectively. Somebody in the chat tell me what Las Rosamientos means. Because I have no clue. I don't know what's being communicated right now. And then he going to play it and then translate it like I knew what he was saying before they translated it. How am I supposed to know what that means?
Weather is very harsh and they've never experienced these cold temps before, but they're here now and hoping to get work permits very soon. Waiting to work, accepting what charity people are willing to share, restless nights and freezing temperatures.
You probably aren't sleeping. It's just too cold to sleep. No matter how many layers you have.
I talked to an advocate for the migrants who told me she's going to go to several of these encampments and teach them about base layers and when to wear them, especially on those cold nights. She says the one problem right now remains. There aren't enough base layers to go around for the migrants in need. In Denver, Raheli Modis, 2 Prime News.
All right. I do need a translator plug-in for my browser. Good God. But no, let's continue of what's happening over in our favorite blue city. Y'all gonna get tired of these blue cities. Y'all gonna get enough.
More than 2,000 migrants are in Denver shelters tonight, but their time is running out.
Some are now finding themselves on the streets in these freezing temperatures. Denver 7's Christian Lopez spoke with migrant families today asking for help.
I'm from Colombia and she's from Venezuela.
¿Cuánto tiempo tienen en Denver?
We've been in Denver approximately a month.
I spoke to Freyman Escorcia and his wife Nadelis, who say their time at this Denver shelter is running out.
Look at the...
When your time is up, they kick you out.
That's Denver, y'all. Welcome to the good old US of A. This is Denver. See that good view of the city? I'm sure there's some good tax-paying citizens that's paying their rent on time, that's living right there above with that great view, looking down on all of the migrants. Welcome to the good old US of A. Can you imagine if you were one of the people that lived in the newer building that was sitting there and you paying top level rent? Let's say you paying $3,700 a month. And then you look down and you see all of these tents from people in your city when you thought that you was going to have a better view. This is Denver. Colorado. Didn't Deion Sanders move over there? Denver. Mayors, nowhere to be found. Illegal propane tanks. People finding girlfriends and they both speak the same language, but they from different countries and stuff like that. This is crazy. To think that in 2023, when I was growing up, and I remember when I was a young dude, they said that we was going to have flying cars by the time that I graduated from high school in 2000. They didn't tell me that in 2023, 23 years after I graduated in high school, that we would have base camps, that it would be looking like Escape from LA with Snake Plissken. They didn't tell me that. They told me that we was going to have flying cars. They did not tell me that we was going to have base camps. Can you imagine? Like back when you was coming up in the 90s, some of y'all a little bit younger, I'm 41 years old. When you was coming up in the 90s and the 80s and the 90s and the level of technology and we was listening to tapes and CD players and we was going to get that new Wu-Tang Forever, Wu-Tang Forever. And DMX was out and Jay-Z was saying, and Biggie was singing to your girl and saying, baby, baby, give me one more chance. Did you think for at any point in 2023, when you was 40, 41 years old, that we would be looking at base camps, that we would have Biden, the very same person that was the toughest on black people when it came to the crime bill, elected as the president of the United States on the back of the first black president whose main legislative victory came from giving you phones, the Obama phone, and alphabet community victories. And that we would need Trump, who back then was both an entertainer and a businessman, to come and try to save us from the people that were raised as community leaders and was legislating since the early 90s and the 80s. Think about this for a second, y'all. Let's really just frame this for a moment. You coming up. Your grandmother think that she never gonna see a black president before her time is up. She get one. The president is a chain smoker who then comes in and then brings forth and advocates for Hillary Clinton, who has no credentials other than the fact that she stuck by Bill Clinton when he was getting his stuff sucked inside of the president. And Barack Obama, who a lot of people didn't even think would make it because of his name. And then he would come in and issue in a new era where Biden would then can't even walk up the steps and don't even know where he at half the time. Is going to be the president of the United States that then tell you after he helped sponsor the crime bill that you're not black if you don't vote for him. And then they have a party where men dress as women and then they are naked on the president's lawn, that they would find drugs and cocaine inside of the White House. And then you would be looking at base camps in Denver for them opening up our borders and not even protecting the citizens of the United States of America. Is this not the America that you dreamed of, that Malcolm X and Martin Luther King was advocating for for black people to be able to thrive in, for white people to come together, for you to evaluate people based off of the content of their character. But now we still living in Rome where mob rules. This is crazy. This is absolutely insane.
There's no help when you get out.
All while also counting down
She's 7 months pregnant.
to the birth of their child. They're worried about ending up on the streets.
Throw the whole goddamn country away. For real, man. Listen, I didn't throw y'all was going to throw me a haymaker like that one. So y'all didn't even know each other before y'all came here, but she pregnant and about to have a child in the United States of America that's going to be a natural U.S. citizen. What is happening in this country? Oh my God, this is so bad. Oh my gosh. Jesus Christ. Oh man, I did not see that haymaker coming. What in God's name are we doing on this earth? What happened? What happened? Y'all gonna be taking care of their kids. Y'all gonna have to make sure that they get all of the EBT cards and free education and healthcare coverage, and you gonna do it. You're gonna take care of them. You're gonna take care of their kids. I am absolutely amazed. Honestly, you just cannot make this up. You can't make it up.
Like dozens of other migrant families now living in this large encampment at Spear and Zunai.
A lot of people outside who have been kicked out, they have nowhere to go, so they're out here with these temperatures. It's concerning because there's kids and pregnant women like her.
Many families who are staying in these tents tell us that they were previously living in this hotel, but they were kicked out because their time ran out. They tell us the only reason they're getting by is because of generous community members like these who are constantly stopping by and delivering food and other donations. They're urging the city of Denver to do more to help. They tell us work permits.
I bet you if they help all these people get work permits, you wouldn't see all of this out here.
Are a major obstacle.
We're simply asking for help. We know how to work. A lot of people outside with this cold is a cruel thing.
As it stands now, families have 37 days before they're forced out. Individuals only have 15.
This honestly looks like the Carter. This looks like the Carter, y'all. This don't look wild to y'all? This ain't the projects of 2023? How many of y'all was familiar that this was even happening in the first place? When you go to sleep at night or you go home or you have conversations or when you was watching a football game yesterday, did y'all know that this was happening over in Denver? Or does it take me to bring this to the front of the congregation for y'all to realize that this is real? This is the Carter.
While the city of Denver says it hasn't forced anyone out in the last week, clearly many are still left out in the cold. Reporting in Denver, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
It is so hard.
Where my Choco Taco?
Out there like that, and
let me go back to my Choco Taco real quick. Let me get my Choco Taco on the screen. Where's she at?
New at 7, the number of...
That ain't her. Where Choco Taco at?
One person is dead, another hurt after a group of migrants.
Ah, there she is. Hey, Choco. Choco Taco. Ain't nothing like a nice, slim in the waist, pretty in the face woman to bring back your frustration. And every time that you get a little bit more frustrated, just come on back to your Choco Taco. All right. I just sent you a DM. Let's see if we can get her on the live stream. I want to interview her in person. Get on off my screen, devil. I don't want you getting me in no trouble. Let me make sure that we make her sign an NDA and a consent agreement before we end up like Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Let me read some of the super chats. And then we're going to continue over with the show. Nola Grillin says, Anton, you cutting the day. Ain't I? Says, been a while since I caught a live move to day shift. Make sure you come on back to the front of the congregation, Nola Grillin. You missing out, man. You missing out. David Simpson Jr. says, Lord, have mercy. We must stay focused, brothers. In Jesus' name. Amen. 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 David G says, we must stay focused, brothers and sisters. We must stay focused. Amen. Amen. Chocolate Thundercat. Nice. Says Ash in the building. See, Ash, I know how to get you back over here to the black side. Steven Slayer 1 says the Chicago single baby mamas is producing demons and they need to exercise ASAP. Now, exercise don't mean like this, doing your jumping jacks. Exercise mean that you get your Bible out and you rebuke that devil. Get it up out of them. Take them to church. Get that holy oil, that olive oil that's been prayed over. I'm going to kick it with you in a minute. I got you, Greg. What up, G?
What's up, man? You all right?
Yeah, on the live stream. What's the word, big dog?
Oh, you on the live stream, man? No, I was just tapping in, man. Wanted to connect with you. See, I know we coming out the holidays now, and wanted to see when we can pencil some time to get together. Definitely.
Yeah, we got to get that money. We got to get that money, big dog. You know, I'm all about that bag.
Look, I know you are. That's why I'm persistent.
Yeah, let's get it. All right, bet. As soon as I get off the live stream, I'll hit you up, big dog.
Okay.
All right, bet. A lot of people don't know who Greg is, but Greg is a big dog. Big dog out in these Detroit streets. Says, all right, let me move on. Let me stay focused. We got to keep the show going. Mr. Lott says they pulling out weapons like Mortal Kombat. Where the hell did you find that rake? I have no idea where they getting all of these weapons from. Sean B says, good morning, bro. I always miss your shows. Oh, no. Says, this is my first time watching. Always working and in school. Keep doing your thing. Oh, you are in for a show today, Sean B. JP says, I got you, AD. La Samadapata means unfortunately. Thank you for giving me some insight, my friend. Next Level MF says, Anton, El Pueblo de Venezuela, te ama. You didn't know I knew how to read. You didn't know I knew how to read, did you? Christian West is in the building, says, having a baby when you're struggling to survive is one of the most irresponsible things you can do. This is wild. Nope, they smart because their kid is now going to be a naturally a U.S. citizen. Trisha May Kishimoto says, thank you. No, thank you, my love. I appreciate you for continuing to hold us down. Izzy the man is in the building, says, AD, it's time to leave the U.S. Canada is open. Canada got a lot of taxes. I heard it's rough up there with my Canadian brethren. My dog Ash says 80 phone. Don't forget, back in the late 80s, 90s, and the 2000s, everybody loved Trump. Until he put the letter R behind his name and he called himself Rump. Trump wants to save America, but black people voted for a man that actually has a racist background. This is crazy. This is crazy. That's what Ash says. Ash, I agree with you 150,000%. That is absolutely true. All of the rappers, everybody loved Trump. But don't worry. Don't worry. Make sure y'all tune into the Q show tonight. It's going to be fire. Fire. But in the meantime, when all of y'all moved down to Florida and everybody said that they wanted to go to the FLA, when everybody wanted to go to the FLA, all of the Californians sold their houses and they ran over to Texas and Florida. And guess what they did to Florida? See, you can't outrun the thing that you are. And that's the thing that people don't truly understand. You can't outrun it. You can run to it, but you can't outrun it. Let me give y'all a little bit of insight of what's happening to the people over here in Florida.
Here tonight to our cover story and new reporting on our Price of Paradise series as the rising cost of living here in Tampa Bay takes yet another turn. Tonight, we're taking a closer look at a new insurance.
See, China, you didn't think that I was going to go to Tampa. We going to Tampa today. We going to Tampa before we head over to Miami and Orlando and middle of Florida.
Company now offering private coverage to customers of Citizens Property Insurance. I-Team investigator Adam Walser hearing from a homeowner who was shocked by the new quote and warns tonight about the consequences of not taking action.
When David Bryant received a depopulation notice in the mail from Citizens Insurance, it didn't come as a total surprise.
Look at this good warm-blooded America right here. This good warm-blooded American right here. Can you imagine what a depopulation letter is? I didn't even know what depopulation letters were. I thought that depopulation meant that you had to leave where it is that you are. I didn't know that it meant that the company that you were paying your premiums to was abandoning you. Look at this warm-blooded American. This man has probably done nothing but make sure that he serves his country or whatever. I have no clue. But a depopulation letter. Let's see what that is.
There's been a dance with me going on Citizens and going off of Citizens.
He is one of 100,000 Florida property owners now covered by Citizens, getting offers of coverage from Slide Insurance, a Tampa-based company founded in 2021. The letter's opening line said, "Great news.
We've found an insurance company for you." What's the bad news?
The bad news, it's about 4.3 times what I was quoted for Citizens.
The premium for the same level of coverage from Slide was $14,684.
All of the insurance companies, and I keep telling y'all, there is an exodus happening in Florida. And all of the insurance companies are leaving. They are not stupid. You need to start paying attention to the signs. Investors, pay attention to the signs. Everybody is leaving Florida because they understand what's coming and it's not going to be good for you. Okay? They're quoting the people at a 430% rise in the cost of home ownership insurance. Meaning that either you can cover the cost of rebuilding yourself or it's going to cost you the equivalent of $15,000 a year. See, when they talk about the cost of home ownership, they don't include things like that in it. They don't. They just saying it's always better to own your home. Okay, under what circumstances? In what part of the country? Because there's a deeper conversation that needs to be had. And most people are either moving further up north. So if you are in southern Florida, let's say you over there in Miami or Coral Gables or Brickell and all of these other high, awesome places that everybody like to fly down to and go and get their BBLs and then fly back to wherever it is that they're going. All of the people that are native to that space are moving up. So they've moved further up. They may have went to Orlando or they may have moved over to Tampa. But then now that's becoming even more expensive. And so then they move even further up and then they move over to Atlanta and so on and so forth, right? But I'm telling you that there is a... Let me play a little bit more and then I'll explain it to you a little bit.
Compared to $3,403 from Citizens.
Do you think that's in any way a reasonable rate, $14,000?
No, not at all.
Bryant's home is at 35 feet of elevation, is more than a mile from the Hillsborough River, and is 3 miles from Tampa Bay. The new rate would raise Bryant's monthly payment by $940.
Why would anyone choose that unless you weren't catching your mail? you weren't paying attention to your mail.
Under the depopulation program, Slide would become Bryant's default choice unless he went online and filled out a form to opt out before November 6th. He did that, but he worries others may not take action in time.
But if you don't have a computer, if you're not computer savvy,
by default, they're going to kick you off and move you over into a new insurance. God knows who, what, when, where, why, and how, who even designed the logo And then you'll be paying the equivalent of like $15,000, $16,000 a year just for insurance alone. Has nothing to do with property taxes, maintenance, has nothing to do with your mortgage payments, nothing.
You know, and you're an older person living at home alone, you know, I just worry about folks like that get stuck with these huge slide bills.
Brian also worries Slide may be taking on too much risk too quickly in a state where hurricanes can produce billions in damages in any year. Slide recently made renewal offers to 86,000 farmers insurance customers and took over 150,000 policies after St. John's Insurance and United Property and Casualty became insolvent.
So all of the insurance companies are either becoming insolvent, or meaning that they have no more money, or they're walking away from entire states altogether. They're abandoning it because they know that Florida is basically number one when it comes to thefts of cars, risk of flood, hurricanes, fires. You got all of these people from other parts of the country like California selling their houses and moving over into Florida. Most people can't even afford to retire in Florida like they said that they were before. Let me give you a little bit of insight.
Some Floridians tell us they're not looking back as they head north on I-95 in search of a new home state. Some say they're looking for a better quality of life, and others say it's a more affordable one.
So it was being flooded by people from elsewhere, and I thought that the vibe was a little bit different than it had been in the past. And I just wanted something different for our family.
New Census Bureau data shows as New Yorkers and Californians move in, among other out-of-staters, a number of Floridians are moving out. You traded in.
Look, this is where they're going. This is where they're going. In 1 year, you had all of the Floridians, because they didn't really want to leave the weather, so they didn't want to deal with the Midwest or the East Coast. They can't afford to go over to New York. They can't afford to go over there to California. 51,000 people moved from Florida to Georgia. 41,000 moved from Florida to Texas. 34,000 moved to California, North Carolina, California, Tennessee, Virginia, New York, Alabama, Michigan, and Ohio. People are running away from Florida because they can no longer afford. Actually, a lot of these people aren't even running from. They're just moving their main residence from Florida over to where they originally were from in the first place, and they just going back home with their family.
In Florida for where?
Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
According to Business Insider, U.S. Census Bureau numbers show between the years 2021 and 2022, nearly 739,000 people moved in and nearly 490,000 residents moved out.
Essentially double our square footage.
That includes young Florida families. Mom worked as a bartender, dad a special effects designer. In search of family, better finances.
What? Mom is a bartender. Daddy is a special effects designer. You know, that kind of reminds me of, let me back up a little bit. That reminds me of them people that used to be on, what's the name of that show? House Hunters. Back when I was broke in like 2008 and I didn't have nothing else better to do except for watch House Hunters, before I really started picking up my life and getting myself together. I used to watch House Hunters, right? And on House Hunters, they would be like, oh, we're looking for this $1.3 million house. And they would be like, oh, what do you do for a living? And a woman would say, well, I'm a potter. And then the guy would say, well, I'm a librarian. What? I'm a flower consultant. And then what did the guy do? I put up books for a living. How can you guys afford a $1.3 million home? I used to watch that dumb show every time, and I'd be like, how is what is they doing for a living to be able to afford a $1.3 million home and then go into $750,000 worth of renovations? Buy a $1.3 million home, tear it down, and then build a whole nother one. What are y'all doing for a living? What? She's a bartender, and he's a special effects designer. Okay, my nigga, that means that you move signs in the Disney park. So you over here moving the signs around. That's like somebody saying that they're a sanitation engineer. Oh, my nigga, you clean the toilets. Y'all moved to Florida. You a bartender. Y'all pregnant. Y'all got a kid. Y'all hanging out on Disney World. Y'all got all of these big old budgets. Where y'all getting all of this money from? Where these white people got all of this money from, yo?
Special effects designer, in search of family, better finances, and desired schools.
That's really what forced
No
our
makeup.
plan to sell our house in Florida and pack up.
The pattern all starts here in Florida.
If you make $200,000 or less, our area is challenging. It's challenging to live in our area, and it sounds absolutely bananas coming out of my mouth, but that puts you in an extremely different income bracket
nice
to the states.
Hold on, let's back up. They gave her the full body pic. I'm trying not to get distracted. She kind of fit. Maybe she got a little bit of a washboard in the back, but we can deal with that. We can deal with that. If y'all find her Instagram, let me know.
Different income bracket to the states just north of us or within a short drive of us.
So what do realtors just north and west of us say in North Carolina?
How many Floridians are you talking to?
More so now than I'd say 3 or 4 years ago.
South Carolina.
Seem to be a hot spot for Floridians. What I hear mostly is just quality of life issues.
To the Georgia-Carolina line.
At closing, I mean, all she talked about was just insurance.
Into Georgia.
It's always like a wow moment of, hey, this house in Florida would be $200,000 more.
So basically, if you live in any of these parts of the country, then beware, because you may be getting some Californians and some Floridians moving into your spaces, especially if you live in Atlanta, or if you live in anywhere in Texas or Georgia. Texas or Georgia, South Carolinas, all of them places, they coming to your city. They're coming to your city, flat out.
Welcome back. More and more homeowners are abandoning home insurance because of skyrocketing costs. According to Bankrate, the national average for home insurance jumped 20% last year to more than $1,400 annually, and that's just for a $250,000 home. The jump in premiums is forcing some owners to forego insurance altogether, while others simply think it's a bad use of money and they'd rather invest that capital instead, a strategy that obviously comes with high risk. Here,
let me tell y'all something. And I just wanted to play that really quick clip before we move over into the next portion of the show. I know a lot of y'all are suffering, and I know a lot of the people are going through things, and y'all trying to figure out where y'all can cut everywhere else except for the thing that is where you basically put your biggest investment in. For most people, and the reason why they say a lot of people are becoming millionaires every day, it's not that they went in on some financial type stuff. Is that the majority of their net worth is into their home. A lot of it is in their retirement, and a lot of it is in their home, or they get homes passed down to them as a result of the inheritance. Let me just tell you this. The home that you live in, for most people, for the overwhelming majority of Americans, the home that you live in is probably your biggest investment, you personally. It's not necessarily something that I advocate for, because I think that all homes that you own should be generating revenue, but that's an entirely different live stream. And maybe I'll give you my theory this week, or maybe even tomorrow for that sake. But of all the things that you can possibly do, if at all possible, do not, and I repeat, do not cut your homeowner's insurance. If you can, cut everything else around you. If you're going through something, do not, under any circumstance, cut your homeowner's insurance. You got to figure out something else to do. That is not the thing that you want to do. If you can't afford to live there, then you might have to move. Don't cut your homeowner's insurance.
Now to explain and react are Angie Newman, portfolio manager at UBS Private Wealth Management, and Karen Collins, vice president for property and environmental at the American Property Casualty Insurance Association. welcome to both of you. Angie, I'll just start with you. And are you ever giving people this advice, or are they...
Absolutely not.
I can't
It's not
imagine
something
it.
that we lead with by any means. But as you said before, it's provocative. It's a hot topic. It's real. It's happening. And so we, as financial advisors, we work from a planning perspective. We look at cash flow analysis, the best use of funds from an estate planning, a tax planning, investment planning. And we have to understand that the client really does understand the
So
kind of
people
risk
are,
they're taking.
and you're based in New Jersey, but I imagine you might have clients,
Yes, we have
So
lots of clients in Florida.
we always think of this as mostly kind of a Florida or a coastal problem.
Region for sure.
Is it? So give us some scenarios. What are people coming to you with? What kinds of decisions are they making if this really is popping up where people are saying, oh, by the way, I'm not paying my home insurance
Yeah,
premium?
well, it started by them saying, listen, a flood of investors came to the market during COVID, bought a home in a coastal region, paid what they thought was a reasonable insurance amount, and then come a year later, their insurance company drops them. They're simply not doing that residential business in the coastal area.
Let me tell y'all something. I see this as a trend happening everywhere, right? It's a trend that's happening everywhere in which people are starting to try to figure out whether or not they can continue to stay in whatever it is that they stand in. I'm gonna read the super chat shortly, and then they're foregoing insurance as a result of it. They keeping a car, and then they getting rid of insurance. When you evaluate the cost of something, you need to evaluate the true cost of it, meaning that it's not just what you're paying in a car note, it's how much it's going to cost you by the end of the time that you pay off that vehicle in interest and payments. Not just the money that's just going to the principal, that's a little bit of the beginning of the loan. It's the insurance that it's going to cost you. It's the gas. When you buy a house, right, the true cost of that home is not just whether or not you got a mortgage versus what you're paying in rent. It's the utilities, it's the repairs, it's the homeowner's insurance. It's also the property taxes that cost a lot of money. A lot of people think that, well, man, if I ever got rich, then I would go and get a $3 or $4 million house. No, you wouldn't, because you can't afford it. You know why? Because the property taxes is going to be $80,000 a year. I would go and get a $6 and $7 million house. No, you wouldn't, because you can't afford to pay the property taxes every single year. You're going to still have to generate a certain amount of revenue in order to be able to maintain a lifestyle and maintain the property itself. This going to cost you $100,000+ a year just to maintain the property and hold on to it. And that ain't even including the extra costs that come along with it. The true cost of something is not your payments. The true cost of something, and this is why I keep trying to teach people and help people to understand that it's not a certain number that you need to hit. We'll get into that. Let me give me a second. I'll get into that in a second. Give me a second. I want to share this last thing with you, and then I'm going to share this with y'all. I'm going to go into it a little bit of what it really costs in order to get money. There's a new home scam that's coming out here in these streets. I want to share that with you, and then we're going to go over and I'm going to have this conversation with you in its entirety.
WWL investigator David Hammer has been tracking a spate of real estate fraud this year, and tonight he exposes a new kind of fraud involving a Metairie contractor and fake home improvement loans.
David Bryan and his wife Anne Marie both grew up in New Orleans. They met at Tulane.
About 25 years ago, we moved away to Minneapolis.
But now they're missing home.
Hold on one second.
We're going to be retired.
Hello? This is Anton. I'm doing well. Yeah, I spoke with somebody about the lot already. Yep. Thank you, love. Yeah, so wait. Let me just confirm that he said what it is that I was saying. So my logic is, obviously I'm trying to buy up swaths of land so that I can build within a city and things like that. But he was saying that I'd have to go through a process where basically I had to submit a proposal of what it is that I wanted to do with the land, so on and so forth. But then in addition to that, that it would be at least almost up to 6 months before they even review the proposal to decide whether or not they wanted to sell the land to me.
Yep, that's pretty much how it is. He told you correctly. And this particular lot of land, because it's North Corktown, the land bank is really looking for a new build infill opportunities.
Yeah.
So they're not looking for someone to just kind of hold on to the land or make a garden. They want to increase the housing stock.
Which is fine. I have no problem with building it. But the problem is, why does it take them so long to review my proposals?
That is an excellent question. I know they're limited staff and they have just so many proposals to look at. And not all of their land is listed with agents like us. Some you can go on their website and just bid, and you don't have to write a proposal. But the ones that come through an agent, you need to write a proposal, whether it's vacant land, single family, multifamily, commercial, it doesn't matter. If we're marketing the property for them, then it has to go through that proposal process.
Okay.
And with that, then I don't know if he told you that you also need to include in your proposal, not only your plans, but you have to include your funding, how you're going to fund your proposal. So
Well,
if
I'm
you're talking
paying.
about a new bid,
I don't need any. I don't have any financing. I have my own money, so it's all coming out.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would just have to show your bank account. You would block out your account number, but you would have to show that you have the funds accessible to do whatever you're proposing that you want to do.
Okay. I have no problem with
Yeah.
giving my bank statements and things like that.
Okay, but yeah, he told you pretty much. It's taking about 5 or 6 months right now, and that's a very good question. I know they go internally; they have a board, they review it, and it's just a process. And why it takes so long, I don't know.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna get the proposals together and things like that. I guess I just got to go through whatever it is that I got to go through. So,
Yeah, did he happen to see the guidelines of what they're looking for? Or
can
are
you
already
email it to
connected?
me?
Oh yeah, I can do that. What's your email address?
Anton Daniels 413@gmail.com.
Okay, so let's go over the spelling because sometimes the receptionist doesn't spell it correctly.
Yep.
So let's go through the.
Anton
Okay.
Daniels DANIELS.
Okay.
At-
413 at.
Yep.
Okay. Yep, I can see the guidelines right now.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
Okay. Take care, Anton. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Retiring soon, and we still have family and friends here, and we wanted to come back once we're both retired.
They bought this uptown house last year, ready to make it their forever home. Then one day this spring, David got this in the mail.
You owe $45,000 on a loan, no payment due right now. It seemed kind of fishy, but you get those every once in a while. You know, you've been pre-approved, so I kind of ignored it, but it was suspicious enough that I hung on to it, and the next month I get another one.
It was from a California lender called GoodLeap, which offers home equity loans for energy-efficient projects like solar panels or new doors and windows. Brian had never heard of GoodLeap. He asked the lender to send him documents from this supposed loan. There's his name on the loan application and an electronic signature.
But the only thing that matched the real record was your name.
Was my name.
Not your social security number?
Nope, not my phone number, not my email address, nothing. On the whole process from beginning to end, they didn't seem to do their due diligence. Not on the loan application.
Not on paying the loan proceeds either.
GoodLeap
And
paid the construction company directly, Deep South Renovations. And they did it, and they didn't have any proof that the work was done or anything. They just took their word for it that the work was done, paid them directly the $45,000.
GoodLeap slapped a UCC lien on Brian's property for the unpaid loan. It said he got solar panels, but he didn't. Deep South Renovations told GoodLeap Brian got new doors and windows. He didn't, and he's far from alone.
So basically, the new scam is this, guys, is that because everything is electronic now, and because it's easy for people to just go a DocuSign or whatever like that, they're basically targeting your properties. Now, be very careful of this. They're targeting your properties, and then they're taking out alleged loans. They're buying alleged things and then they're billing the company. And it doesn't matter whether you give them your real social security number. It doesn't matter if you give them anything. All you got to do is know who the owner of the property is. And then whomever it is that issues the loan then puts a lien on your house, even though they can't track where it is that they issued the funds to. BIFM, send me an email. I definitely will. They're so eager to get your business that now they're issuing loans in your name, even though they don't have your social security or anything, because you are the homeowner and saying that you requested all of this and getting the bag from these companies. The companies then slap a lien on your home, and then that's the determining factor for whether or not they get paid, because when you sell your home, then a certain amount of those funds are supposed to be issued in order to pay the loan back. That's crazy. That's crazy. To know that somebody can get a loan in your name and they don't even have your social security number is wild. They don't do any verification. They don't verify whether or not the social security number actually matches up with the name. You just giving them any social security number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's so easy to get finessed out here in these streets.
A UCC lien is where a creditor is putting a lien on a property to put others on notice that he has an interest in something in the property, whether it be furniture, equipment, or in this case,
I'm going to read that super chat shortly.
Solar panels that never existed on the property, but that's what the UCC lien said.
Lauren Griffin is a real estate attorney at Crescent Title. One of her clients also got a lien from GoodLeap, also for solar panels that never got installed, also for $45,000 that went to Deep South Renovations.
The only way that my client found out is because someone notified him, someone who also was a victim of these UCC liens.
I figured that I couldn't possibly be the only victim, so I went back to land records and I printed out, at my expense, about $250, copies of all GoodLeap liens in Orleans Parish.
This third victim said he's afraid to give his name because he's the one who filed this police report against Deep South Renovations and reached out to warn as many people with GoodLeap liens as he could find.
Sounds like somebody over at Deep South Renovations caught a bag. I wonder where this is going to lead.
And subsequently, I heard back from about 8.
Now the FBI is investigating.
The FBI called me and they said, no, it's more than 10, it's more than one lending company.
Law enforcement sources say GoodLeap paid Deep South almost $1 million for about 20 bogus loans.
Somebody got a bag.
I've spoken to the FBI twice, but I know that they're investigating.
Investigating Deep South and its owner, Samantha McGee.
I know that her contractor's license for this fake company that she established has been removed.
This is Deep South's supposed office.
Oh, man, hold on. Oh, no, not Samantha McGee. Samantha McGee, that's a famous name from an actress, ain't it? Samantha McGee, that is so... Oh, somebody is finessing GoodLeap out of $1 million.
A vacant storefront in Metairie. We found McGee recently took out a $450,000 purchase bond on this Metairie townhouse. The seller says McGee paid the first $50,000 and stopped, and now he's going to have to evict her. U.S. Marshals confirmed they went to the house last year to arrest McGee for failing to show up in federal court on an unrelated matter. Neighbors saw her pull up in her late model Mercedes, but she wouldn't answer the door or any of our phone and text messages.
I think it's really galling that somebody can get away with this so easily. Extraordinarily easy, because GoodLeap doesn't do any due diligence.
GoodLeap Vice President Jesse Comart says the lender has, quote, an extensive due diligence and fraud prevention process.
Now, if that was DJ Envy and Cesar Pena, they would have been under the jail. Yo, let me tell you something. Samantha is not a black name. I'm going to just be honest. McGee, I've never, ever seen a McGee that was black. Hold on. What is this people calling me? Hello? I've never seen any of that. Anybody named now, she driving back and forth in her Mercedes and ain't nobody tripping about it, right? She just pulling up, don't even pay it no more, got the bag, vacant storefront. We don't even know if that's their real name. But Samantha is out here driving around in a Benzo looking to purchase an Enzo, and ain't nobody tripping about it. They see her drive back and forth. None of that. Let me tell you something. But if it's DJ Envy, they coming for you. They coming for you.
But he says Goodleap was victimized by, quote, a highly sophisticated group that appears to have the ability to create or obtain fraudulent Social Security numbers and then associate the SSNs with innocent property owners. He says Goodleap referred the case to the FBI in Sacramento and has been cooperating with the federal investigation.
UCC liens are now a new kind of fraud that we...
AWOL says, I'm in a class action lawsuit with Goodleap for a solar system. Really? That's crazy.
Haven't seen before, and so when we first got this call, this was new to us. But fraudsters are trying anything they can right now.
In the meantime, Griffin says property owners should guard against those fraudsters.
To protect themselves, people can freeze their credit. If you're in Jefferson or St. Tammany, there are systems in place where they notify you if anything's been placed on your property. But hopefully the other parishes will follow suit in that, and that everyone can be notified if something is put on your property, whether it's real.
You know what? This is too difficult, honestly. It's too difficult. It really is. Like, now you got to put a freeze on your credit. You got to do this. You got to do that and all of that. You're supposed to just be able to live as a regular human being. You're not supposed to wake up and see some mail that you possibly didn't even check in your mailbox, then putting a lien on your property for something that you never took out. And then the person allegedly that's being accused of it is just driving back and forth in a Benzo to their crib every single day. Popping cranium, timeout popping cranium real quick. We don't want that on our live stream.
Or fraudulent.
The Orleans Parish Clerk's Office says it's in the final testing stages for a new notification system like the ones in Jefferson and St. Tammany parishes. Property owners will be able to opt in for email alerts starting in January. Too late for people who only learned about Goodleap liens while trying to sell their houses or get legitimate loans.
That's messed up.
And too late for victims like Brian, who had to pay a lawyer and fight for 6 months to get the lien removed last month.
If it didn't happen to me, I'd sit back and think, boy, this is ingenious, you know?
At least he can laugh about it now before he needs a real loan to start the real work on his retirement dream home.
Nah, fam, just do it in cash. Stop taking out loans. You don't need no loan. Just chill out. But again, the latest scam, and y'all got to just look out. Y'all need to make sure that y'all monitoring y'all credit. Make sure you monitoring what's happening with your properties. Check on your stuff on a regular basis. Check on your loved ones. Check on your grandmother. Check on your mother. Check on everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because there's people out here finessing and getting over on you, and they riding around and ain't nobody got no identification of what they look like or nothing like that. And they just out here riding around and they ain't got no problem as a result of it. Let me tell you something. Let me share my thoughts with you really quickly, and then I'm going to get you guys up out of here. The true cost of owning something, and this is a conversation that I was just having with y'all, you know, with a previous segment of the show. The true cost of ownership is not really being communicated over to the people. And that's why you don't really have the literacy that you have, because you're voluntarily ignorant. Let me give you an example, right? A lot of people say, well, you know, you should just automatically buy a home. Well, it depends on your lifestyle. Because just because you say that you own the home doesn't necessarily translate, because the bank owns the loan. The bank owns the home. The bank has issued you and you're paying interest on it. And so the justification for why you do it is you'll say, well, it's better than renting. Is it? If you understand how to finesse the game a little bit differently in order to make sure that you're getting the most out of it, is it? A home or home ownership has been marketed to you guys. And I hate to say it, and it doesn't mean that it's bad owning a home. I'm just telling you that you need to understand the true cost of what it takes to own something. A home has been marketed to you guys from the banks in order to keep them solvent and to keep money rolling into them. It's a finesse. The idea that you automatically think of a 30-year mortgage as something that is normal is a finesse. That should not be a finesse. As a matter of fact, I will even go so far as to say the fact that you sold your grandmama's house that was supposed to be in the family forever was the real finesse. The finesse was that they told you that the property that you was living in or that you was raised in wasn't worth anything and that you didn't care for it, which was one of the reasons why you destroyed it, and then you labeled it as the hood when it was never supposed to be that in the first place. The thing that we were supposed to cherish was the things that meant the most to us. The value in something is what you're willing to pay for it. It's not based off of the comps. It's based off of what you see in it. You ain't ready to have this conversation. It's based off of what you see in it. The only reason they label it as the hood is because that's what you start calling it. It's because you stop cutting your grass. It's because you stop calling the police when you seen bad things happening inside of your neighborhood. Is that you had no more block clubs and the community center went down and you thought that it was cool to continue to gangbang and smoke weed, and we let our cultural norms define what our neighborhoods were supposed to look like instead of us defining what the neighborhood was supposed to look like. And if everybody actually valued their property, it wouldn't be so low, but instead it would be incredibly high. When your grandmother purchased it and when your grandfather paid it off and he worked 30 and 40 years and he had 2 and 3 jobs and he was a mailman and he worked at the plant and all of that, they valued it. They took care of it. It was great. If you look at Google Photos back before 2008 and then you look at what it looks like now, it's a completely different conversation. But they convinced you to leave the place that your grandmother, and your grandfather valued and to diminish the value of it. Let me tell you what the cycle is and how they continue to market it to you. They convinced you that it wasn't worth anything. And so you let it go down the drain and you didn't do the thing that was best for your community. But you'll value something that you move out to that other people then put a projected value on based off of whether or not they value their community, and then you'll fall in line. And then you make sure that you cut your grass and you pay your HOA fees and you get in line. And you start doing all of the things that's valuable to the thing that you go into because they marketed it to you to make it more valuable. It's just like clothes, right? A lot of the same manufacturers make the same clothes, but it's the perception of value that then forces you to start thinking a little bit differently about what it is that you're paying for it. I'm telling you the truth. The fact that they made you pay HOA fees made you think that it was more valuable than the property that you left. You were willing to pay more money than to live for free and have a better lifestyle because you didn't want to put no money in the Gam's house, and so you let it go into foreclosure, or you just let it go into the bank, or you let it rot, or you let it just fall into disrepair. Then you know what you're going to do? When I come in and then I buy Gam's property for little or nothing, and then I develop it, and then I have more value as a result of it, you're going to say that we came in and we pushed out the community and we gentrified it. It's all a cycle. It's all a cycle. The banks sold you on the idea that having a 30-year mortgage, if you 30, if you 40, if you 50 years old and you get a 30-year mortgage, by the time that you pay it off, you're going to die. It's a marketing tactic that they don't even have to put no money behind. Think about it. If you don't live in the home for at least 15, 16, 17 years, then you don't even really break even for the amount of money that you sell it for when you take into consideration the true cost of home ownership. The majority of the loan, especially on front end, is all based off of how much you're giving in interest, and hardly none of it is going to the principal. So then you depend on the value continuing to go up until the whole real estate market resets, and then you can't afford it, and then you see a whole bunch of houses going into foreclosure because people didn't truly understand the cost of home ownership. The property taxes is going to continue to go up. The homeowners association fees are going to go up. The maintenance, it's going to need a roof. It's going to need a driveway. It's going to need a new furnace. It's going to need a new cooling system. Central air unit. You're going to have to maintain it. New windows, window treatment. You're going to want to renovate the house, expand it, all of this other type of stuff. All of that stuff costs a lot of money. And you're not even just going to pay for it in cash. You're going to finance it, which is me. You're going to pay more interest, or you're going to get a HELOC, a home equity loan, in order to pay more interest on the property on top of what it was that you already financed it for. At the interest rates today, you already going to pay 3 times more than whatever it is that you financed the property for. So if you buy a $300,000 property, you're going to pay close to $1 million by the time you get done paying it off. And then you're going to pull loans out of it, and then you're going to have to maintain it, and you got to pay property taxes on top of it, because if you don't pay property taxes, then they're going to take your stuff anyway. So it's never really yours. You're renting it from the city, and then they're going to leverage your property taxes in order to go into the schools and then have all of the millages and all of your community colleges that you don't take advantage of because you don't vote, and you don't determine what the millages are going to be, and you don't really understand what's going on in your community, and you don't have a relationship with the mayor, city councilman, or the treasurer. You don't know who's running and making decisions as far as what's being allocated, infrastructure updates, right? True cost of home ownership is going to be egregiously more than what you signed up for, because you only go based off of the payment instead of understanding exactly what it's going to cost you. And so because you don't value, and because you allow for the banks to continue to rip you off, somebody said to me, because I posted on Instagram, and I posted a picture of one of the properties that I'm developing, and I said, no financing, no mortgages, no loans. We are the bank and the developers. And somebody tried to convince me that I could grow faster if I got loans and financing instead of putting my own money up. I'm not falling for that trap. I'm not letting my daughter inherit a trap. I'm not. I'm going to continue to be a 100% owner and equity holder of every single thing that I do, because I know the finesse. I've worked for the banks for an extended period of time. So you're going to have a lot of these influencers, and they're going to tell you, hey, never pay off your mortgage, continue to pay interest over into the bank. Well, when I get my statement and I'm reading it and I'm looking at my statement, and you know the thing that bothered me the most, whether it had been a car payment or when I had mortgages or anything like that, when I would look at my statement and I would see interest, and a lot of people don't even look at their statements, and I would see interest, principal, so on and so forth, that bothered me. It bothered my soul, because I was giving them free money to do nothing. I was giving them free money to do nothing. So they were able to conjure up a marketing tactic that allowed for me to continue to pay them for my entire life and never own anything, for the sake of saying that I'm a home owner because I had a 30-year mortgage. Y'all not even smart enough to do 15 and 10 and 15-year mortgages. You financing your property based off of the payment. You got a 30-year, you got an arm. You got an arm, 30-year mortgages. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but when you know better, you do better. And so you don't want to get, how is that any different? Because the only difference between the interest that you're paying on your credit card and the interest that you're paying on your mortgage is the fact that you're depending on the value of the property to go up in order for you to have equity into it so you can draw back from it, so you can do whatever it is that you want to do as far as living your life. How is it any different? Interest payments are interest payments. You even go by they let you finesse by saying that this is the interest rate, so make sure you hold on to it in order to pay it off longer. Well, if it's good enough for the bank to continue to loan it to me because they're making a lot of money from me, then why would I continue to give it to them thinking that I got the deal, but they the ones that's benefiting from it? Think about this shit for a second. If it's so great for me to hold on to the loan, why is the institution so happy to give it to me? That don't set off a red flag in your mind? That they're making money off of you and you're depending on the property to appreciate for you to say that you got a high net worth? Somebody said, I'll be there with you on Friday with the disagreement, go 30 and then pay more just in case. I'm not giving, listen. I'm not giving any additional money over to the bank that I don't have to. Why would I give additional money over to the bank just in case? No, just in case anything happens, I own it free and clear. And worst case scenario, I don't have to worry about any payments whatsoever. Why would I finance a property when I can own it outright? I mean, listen, do what you got to do, pay what you got to pay, get into it, pay it off as soon as possible. But why would I give free money over to the bank when I don't have to? Why would I give free money over to the bank? The only way that this works for me is if you're giving me basically a 0% interest rate. Because then that's free money. Because then I can use the money to make more money on something else. But I know how much money I'm giving to you in interest. When I look at the statement and it says interest principal, that's not free money to me. The interest rate is the finesse, and the length of the term is the way that they get you to do it, because they then tell you, well, you got a lot of equity in this property. Let me tell you something. If all of y'all paid off all of y'all mortgages today, the banking industry would completely collapse. They don't want you to. Think about it. If you go into a car dealership tomorrow and you try to pay cash for the vehicle, they will try to talk you out of it. Well, why would they try to talk me out of it? Don't they want the sale? No, they want the financing because they're trying to make money on top of money. And so they're using what you think is generational wealth against you. If everybody paid off and allocated all of their money over into the mortgages, the entire system would collapse. It's dependent on you to continue to be a consumer and think of a mortgage as an opportunity instead of thinking of owning the property outright as the real leverage. Why would I, if I can give you, you just said it, if I can give you $400,000 and have you pay me back $1.2 million, why wouldn't I? The only thing better than that is to have somebody rent the property from me and I have it and I own it outright. I can't believe that they finessed y'all. I cannot believe that they continue, and they don't even need to market it because they got all of y'all in order to continue to market it to each other. Y'all keep marketing each other. Get 30-year mortgage. Go do it. Buy your house. Interest rates is low. Hurry up and go do it. And then y'all went out there and y'all paid $50,000, $100,000, $150,000 over the asking price of the property because the interest rate was low. So you still did the same thing. Think about what you're doing. Think about what you're saying. The only argument that people make against it is they'll say something like, well, I can take that money and put it into an asset that then makes me more money long term. That's why I'm financing. Oh, okay. All right, cool. So let's break that down, right? First of all, you're going to have to beat the interest rate, and that's assuming that you have the entire amount to be able to pay off the property. Okay, so let's say we take a $500,000 property. Let's do it. Let's have this conversation. Let's have it from a C student's perspective. I'm open to the possibility that I'm wrong, but let's get into it, right? They'll tell you, hold on to your mortgage forever and then leverage the money in another asset that can make you money, right? That's the thing that they'll market to you. So the first thing that we have to assume, which we know is not true, is that the majority of people have the ability to be able to pay off the home in its entirety. Because the only way that you're going to make money off the asset is if you take the money that you would have paid the house off with and you put it into an investable asset that actually beats the rate that you're paying on the home. Meaning you already got to have $500,000 sitting somewhere else that you didn't allocate to pay off your home, but you're going to have it sitting there. And then you're going to have the business acumen to invest it in something somewhere that's going to give you a consistent high return on your money. Now, the reason why I tell people to not invest before they pay off their debts, such as credit card loans, is because we know the amount of money that you're losing based off of what you have to pay over in interest to the credit card companies. It's like trying to climb an investment while having rocks inside of your backpack. You can climb much faster when you don't have something slowing you down. So then you can allocate the majority of your resources over into the thing that then gives you the biggest return on your money, and you don't have to have any risk as a result of it. Somebody said, what about a line of credit as opposed to an actual mortgage? For what? What do you need a line of credit for? What do you need a line of credit for? The fact that I'm liquid allows for me to account for any kind of emergency that I would have. I am the line of credit. I am the line of credit. It's the reason that I have assets. I take the money that I would make and I deploy it as little employees in order to go and make me a bunch of more money, right? And I buy more assets. And then if I need to, I'm liquid enough to be able to tap into certain things that allow for me to account for any kind of emergency if all of my income dried up. I don't need a line of credit. What do I need a line of credit for? What do I need a line of credit for? Why do you need a line of credit? Why are you guys so obsessed with credit scores, and the whole 9 yards? Why are you so obsessed with it? I've never paid off a mortgage and then regretted paying off the mortgage. I have never seen anybody in my entire life, of all of the people that I've coached, I've never seen one person pay off the mortgage and then regret that they paid off the mortgage. I have never, and I have seen people regret taking out additional credit. I have seen people regret taking out HELOCs. I have seen people regret paying off their home earlier. I have never in my entire life seen one person that paid off their mortgage or paid off their home say, I regret paying off my home. I have never seen one person ever do that in my entire life. And we have to assume that everybody that is holding on to cash has the business acumen to be able to multiply their money, and they don't. They don't. They don't. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I pull up my stuff right now. You know me, I got receipts all day long. I don't care nothing about credit. The only reason I even got a credit card is because I needed to travel. I have to have a credit card in order to have a rental car. You got to have a credit card in order to get a hotel room. You got to have a credit card in order to get certain things in order to travel. If it's so great, then why is the banks licking their chops in order to make sure that they give you money? If it's so awesome, why are they so eager to give it to you? Why are they so eager to give it to you? Huh? Why are they so eager to give it to you? Zero credit card use. Zero credit card use. Zero derogatory marks. 100% payment history. Zero credit card usage. Zero. Zero. Why are they so eager to give it to you? Why are they so eager to give it to you? That's all I'm asking. Why are they so eager to give it to you if it's so meaningful? Black people, white people, bag chasers, everybody. Let me tell you something. Stop being finessed and letting them gamify by saying that credit is more important than assets. It's not. It's not. It's not. Credit is not more important than assets. All they're doing is gamifying your ability to continue to pay them in interest by making you think that you are more important than you really are. It's gamification. It's just like Fortnite. It's just like the sign that they have in the call center to say who's the best. It's a gamification in order to keep you in debt so that you can continue to prop up the banking system that the United States of America is largely depending on in order for them to continue to survive. I'm telling you. I have a 813 credit score. It don't mean nothing to me. It means absolutely zero to me at all. Doesn't mean anything to me. It's silly. It's absolutely, positively silly. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And you know what's so funny? I'll do one payment loan or one payment thing. So I'll finance it and do one payment. And they'll continue to report on it. Well, Anton, what does that mean? Oh, okay. So like, for example, my Porsche, they'll continue to pay on it, but they close the account. See that closed? Porsche. Well, why did they close the account? Why did they close the account? Well, because I financed it and then I paid it off in one payment. Well, why did you pay it off in one payment? Make sure that you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I don't have any car notes. I have 0 car notes. Anton, why did you pay it off in one payment? I know Anton got car notes. Bitch, I ain't got nothing. I ain't got no car note. I ain't got nothing. The only thing I pay for is insurance. And I'll show all of my receipts. I'll show all of my, well, Anton, why did you, because you want to negotiate the best deal and they want you to do the financing, but they don't know that you're not going to pay no interest because you're going to pay it off in one payment. I'll show all of my receipts. All of my cars paid for. You want to see the Hyundai? You want to see the Benz? I don't have nothing. Nothing. I drive freely. I don't worry about nobody coming and get my stuff. I don't worry about none of that. Every single thing that I have is paid off. Stop letting these people tell you to hold on to the loan. The account is there, but it's going to say closed. You know why? Because they ain't getting no money out of me. And, well, I don't want to say that other part. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And then I gave the bag chasers the finesse after you pay it off, what it is that you do as far as in order to make more money from it. But that's a whole nother conversation. Listen, I love you guys. I appreciate you. You don't have to be in debt. You don't have to owe nothing. You ain't got to be making no payments. You ain't got to have no interest payments. You ain't got to make none of that. Get your bag, run it up, pay off all of the stuff in order to allow for you to continue to invest in your assets and not give money over into the banks or the finance companies. Somebody said no mortgage. No mortgage. Not one mortgage. As a matter of fact, you can go to my Instagram and I actually posted the last payment. Here, I'll put it up for you. I know you're a little lazy. My last mortgage payment for any property that I had was, let me see, when was this? My last mortgage payment was $101,756.14. That was my last mortgage payment for the last property that I own that I'm renting out. Anything else? Anything else? I could pull receipts for days. For days. And the bag chasers already have seen this. They know it. We do cash. We don't do no financing. We're not doing none of that. None of that. All right? Don't get finessed. Don't think that you need to run in the game and run in a race in order to keep up with everybody else. It's 100% in a whole nother space that you can be in, and you can own everything. And that's the way that they fear you. When you become educated, when you start owning everything, it's a whole nother conversation. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'm gonna read the super chats and then we're gonna get up out of here. All right. Shout out to Nurses Ain't Nice in the building. Oh my God. Says, fam, how do you suggest nurses level up and stop using the trading time for money equation? If you don't mind sharing, we're not IT. How do I multiply my efforts? Listen, you're always going to be working in one capacity or another, right? A lot of people get caught up with this idea of trading time for money. Well, if that's the case, then that means that Elon Musk shouldn't be working, right? Or Warren Buffett shouldn't be working into his 90s. Or Charlie Munger shouldn't be working into his 90s. I don't know anybody except for Instagram influencers that's not working. I don't know anybody. Somebody said, I'm surprised you don't self-insure your vehicles. Well, depending on if they business expenses, I can write off the entire payment of the insurance. But that's an entirely different conversation. I'll get into that later, Ferry. I like that. Everybody trades in time for money. Everybody is doing something to make more money. Don't think about it like that, right? Think about it like you have an opportunity to really have a big shovel in order to plow the majority of the money that you have into something that's meaningful, right? So a lot of nurses that I actually coach, and I actually did a Patreon where I got 3 different nurses, 3 different traveling nurses that came on to the show, and they started breaking down exactly what they make or whatever like that, right? The idea of it is to leverage your expertise in whatever it is that you do in order to maximize your profits. So most people that make a lot of money, they then spend a lot of money in order to maintain a lifestyle. That's the trap, right? You want to be free to where you're not tied to your profession, meaning that you always want to get the bag. You always want to have multiple sources of income. You don't want to forego the opportunity in order to make more income, but that income is the thing that you then leverage to plow into the assets that you wind up making a lot more money from. So I would leverage whatever the fact is, or I do you know better. This is one of the things that I told a couple of traveling nurses is that I coach, right? I said, listen, why do you have a home? Why do you have a crib that you bought? They said, what you mean? I said, you own a road literally the entire year. They're paying for you to live somewhere else. Take your stuff, put it at your mama house or put it in storage or whatever like that. That way you have somewhere that you want to come home, sleep with family or whatever. And then you dedicate all of your resources into paying off the things like your student loans and all of that. And then you can start investing and getting into real estate and everything like that. They did it. 3 years later, these dudes is booming. And guess what? Even though they're making a lot of money with their assets that they've then decided to plow their majority of their resources into, and I don't want to talk about what their assets are, they still work. They still love to work because now they don't have the pressure in order to meet an expectation to make a payment to substantiate a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So think of yourself as a business. It's not that you want to get financially free from trading time in for money. Listen, I'm trading time in for money right now. The idea of it is that, do you want to pivot to figure out how much time you're allocating towards the wrong thing that's not giving you the majority of your resources, right? Meaning that it's called the cost benefit analysis. And I teach it inside of the Patreon. The cost benefit analysis is if you're profitable over here, right? Or you're making a lot of money over here, but then you're making a little bit of money over there, it would actually pay off for you to get rid of the little bit of money that you pay and the time that you're allocating towards it in order to spend more money, more time to make more money on the thing that actually is paying a bigger amount, right? So if it's a business, if it's the time that you're allocating towards your job, if it's a business that you need to get rid of so you can spend more time over there, then it's a completely different conversation, right? But you got to do the cost benefit analysis. How much time is it taking me to do this? How much time is my time worth? Or how much money is my time worth? Did I do the amount as far as evaluating how much I'm really worth per hour? The amount of money that you make per year divided by 8,760. And then you figure out whether or not it's actually becoming fruitful And if you deploying more of your resources into something that's not going to actually bring a bigger bag later, meaning that if I own this restaurant and the margins are low, but I'm spending a lot of money over there or a lot of time over there, which is a lot of money, and I'm not actually generating the type of revenue that I'm generating when I'm spending less time over here, that means that I need to get rid of that and allocate more time to the thing that's going on over here, right? You got to do the cost benefit analysis of everything that you're doing, even when it comes to the people that you surround yourself with, even when it comes to your friends, even when it comes to the people that you think are valuable in your life, but they don't add value to you. Because if you find out how much your time is worth and then you figure out who it is that you're spending your time around, you'll realize that they're not worth you spending your time with. So travel nursing is great. Don't forego that. You always want to have that in your back pocket. The thing that people don't tell you is that you have to have a big shovel before you can start planting seeds in dirt, because you want to have a lot of trees bearing a lot of fruit. But if you don't have that shovel, which is one of the reasons why I say that the biggest investment that you can make is into yourself. The biggest investment that you can make is into yourself, because that is the foundation that allows for you to then generate the revenue that you want as far as assets. All right. So don't think that just because you're trading in your time for money, that's a bad thing. No. It's how much time are you trading in for the money that you're making, and could you allocate that time towards something that's a little bit different? All right. Shout out to you. Hit me up. Email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com. Zach says, them thoughts not running though. Shout out to Zach. I appreciate you, big dog. Wealth building journey. He was in a live stream last night helping us out with the pitches. Says, Ton, didn't I tell you that people from NYCA and Texas and Florida keep moving here to the DMV and to the East Coast in general? We full, no vacant. Nope. They coming to your city. They coming to your city. Shout out to the new me. Michaela says, Mr. Daniels, do you think it's beneficial to get a real estate license right now? I want to buy land and build. Do you think that that's a good move to get started? You don't need a real estate license in order to buy land and build. I do not have a real estate license. You do not have to have a real estate license to buy land and build. You have to have a real estate license in order to sell other people's real estate. But then here's the other side of it, is that I think that the real estate industry is being upended because there's a lawsuit that's basically trying to justify why real estate agents or why people selling their homes have to pay the 3% over into the buyer's agent. So it's okay if you get it, but then at the same time, I don't necessarily think that it's beneficial if you're just trying to buy land and build it up. All right. You don't need a real estate license in order to buy land and build it up, Michaela. All right. So I think that the real estate industry, real estate agents are going to have a tougher time than ever. That's just my personal opinion. Wealth building journey says, that's the etymology of mortgage. It's French. Mort, death, gitch, pledge. It's literally a death pledge. I didn't know that. Marcus Hill is in the building and says, good afternoon, Time Dog and fellow bag chasers. Great episode as always. Could you clip that last segment? You're splitting some gems right now. Yeah, I throw that up there for y'all. My name is Corey in the building. Shout out to my name is Corey. He says, it's true. Bought a Ford Explorer for my wife in 2020. They begged me to finance and they did not want cash. Greg Charlie says, I'm in a Patreon and I don't see the episode where I should search for. Which episode? Are you talking about the episode where I talked about the nurses? The nurses episode it says a Patreon exclusive. It got the nurses on the front cover of it. And then you click it, and I had 3 different travel nurses come on the platform, and they talked about everything from what it takes to get in the industry, what schools you should go into, what they make for a living, how they've allocated their resources now that I have been coaching them. So when you go into the Patreon, look for the live stream that I had, an exclusive live stream where I had travel nurses come on the platform, and they were 3 friends of mine or 3 people that I had coached up, and they came in on the platform and they talked all about what it is that they do for a living and how they got into the industry. It's a very lucrative industry. They made a lot of money during the pandemic. All right. Listen, I love you. I appreciate you. For everybody that pitched yesterday or the people that did not get a chance to see the pitches, I will update that Patreon live stream with it. I'm going to update it and upload it this morning or this afternoon, this evening, and then we're going to go from there. All right. Listen, guys, I love you. I appreciate y'all. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Tap into the Discord. The link is pinned to the bottom of any of the most recent posts inside of the Patreon. Make sure y'all tap into the Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Thank you, Teach, for sponsoring the show. It's going to be a great week. A lot of information, a lot of insight, a lot of questions that I'm going to answer. And it's a lot of myths that I'm going to address that's out here as far as money is concerned, all right? I love you guys. I hope you guys got a chock full of information. We going into December, y'all. It's about to be December soon. So final week of November, let's gird up. Let's get ready. Let's get ready for the new year. We're going to go into the new year running and swinging, all right? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here. Make sure you tune into Q's show tonight, and we're going to get into it. It's going to be a great show. Make sure you come on to the live stream on my other channel tonight. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends and family. We don't want to be rich by ourselves. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace. I'll give y'all an update on what happened with Fight Club tomorrow. I'll talk about Fight Club in the morning. Actually, I might even talk about it on the Q show tonight. I might talk about it in the beginning of the Q show. Tune into the Q show tonight. I might talk about it. We're going to get into it. If I don't talk about it tonight, if I forget, I'm going to talk about it in the morning. I promise. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace. Oh, let me get one more super chat up in here. I want to acknowledge all of the people. Darnell says, what do you suggest for net worth split? Example, 50% cash, the rest stocks and real estate. No, I believe in putting the majority of your money into a brokerage account until you need to make a bigger purchase, right? And then when you make that bigger purchase, you want your money to be working for you. And so I believe investing in individual stocks, the S&P 500, index funds, so on and so forth. Even ETFs, right? I love ETFs for people that's not intimately familiar with individual companies who haven't done their research. So I don't have any kind of specific split. I just think that you need to be liquid enough to be able to make the plays that you want to make and for you not to have to pull out of the things that you really own already, such as getting a home equity loan or credit in order to be able to survive if something happens, all right? So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for the super chat. I'm going to holler at y'all tomorrow. Peace. Or holler at you tonight.